to one and all. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in Computer Science, MyCAS College, Mysore. Today, we will explain the fourth experiment of MySQL, that is library table. Regarding that, now we will explain.
If you see the question, under that you have to create one table, call it as library. Under that, title, author, year, category, price, quantity, these are the attributes. In the second question, you have to enter 5 records. In the third question, alter the table with the new column, call it as amount. In fourth question, calculate the amount. Fifth question, list the records of all those books price in between 400 and 900. Whereas in the sixth question, list all the records whose year of publication is 2010 onwards. In the last question, you have to list all the books. To start MySQL, click on Start button under that MySQL and open that. Here, whatever password in your college they given, write down the same password. Then we'll get a screen like this. Now first, before starting with the queries, first you have to create the database. For that, create database, whatever database name you want, that you can create here. We want to create the library table. That's why create database library. Now query OK, one row affected means now only you can able to create the table. Otherwise your table will not able to create here and it will not work. After this, you have to use that database name, that is use library. Then database changed. After getting this command only, whatever query you want, you can type and it will work. That's why until you will get database changed, your program will not work. That means create, insert, everything will not work. That's why first create the database, then use that table name. Now we'll start with the first one, the create table. Create table. Create table. Table name we are given as library. Then in the next line, if you want, you can open the bracket. Otherwise, in the same line also, you can open the bracket. If you observe here, the attributes here, especially title, we have title, where-char data type, where-char, inside the bracket, how much size you want, you can give. For example, I am giving as 20. How much you want, you can give. Then not null. Not null indicates that value should not be null. Comma operator, compulsory you have to write comma after each attribute. Then the next one is author. The second attribute is author, where-char data type. Where-char data type. Here also how much size you want, you can mention here. Then comma. The next attribute, we have the year. Year. For example, here I am taking integer data type 4. Maximum to mention the year we need 4 digits. That's why 4 we are writing. Then comma operator. And the next attribute we have category. Which type of book it is? Category. Category, where-char data type. Inside the bracket, you can mention the size, how much you want. Comma. And the last attribute here we have price and quantity. Price, float data type. Float indicates that it contains integer part as well as float value. Here 7, 2 we are written. 7 indicates that totally 7 digits we have, and that 2 indicates that 2 fractional parts are there. Comma. And the next attribute we have quantity. Quantity, integer data type. Inside the bracket we are writing 4. For the last one, don't put comma. Instead of that, close the bracket and then semicolon. Now if you observe, query OK, 0 row affected. It means that now your table is created. After getting this command only, your insert command will work. That's why until you will get query OK, 0 row affected, whatever records you want, you can't insert here properly. Now to insert that, insert into the table name is library. Library values. Don't write value, you have to compulsory to write values. Then open the bracket, First, if you observe, the first one we have title varchar data type. That's why whenever there is a varchar data type as well as date data type, compulsory inside the codes you have to enter the value. Then title is of type varchar data type. Here I'm going to write computer book. Computer book. Whatever title you want, you can give. Then the second attribute. Here if you observe author. Author is of type varchar data type. That's why once again inside the codes you have to write Ajay. Then comma. And if you observe the third one is year. On which year you purchased that book, that you have to mention. For example 2019. Then afterwards comma operator. The next attribute we have category. Which type of book it is. Here if you observe category, once again varchar data type. That's why once again you write inside the quotes. Here I will write computer book. Inside the single quotes we will write computers. Computer. Then single quotes comma. After category you have the price as well as quantity. Now price and quantity both are of type, one is integer and one more is float data type. That's why write on the value. For example 700 or 450, how much you want you can write. For example 450 dot 00, the price of that book, comma, and the last one the quantity I'm going to write, for example 6, close the bracket and then semicolon. This is your first attribute. If you observe, title we are given, author name, year, then category, then price and quantity. Now if you observe, query OK, one row affected. If you want, once again you can type the query. Otherwise in your keyboard use up arrow key, otherwise down arrow key. By that the previous command once again it will display. Now here also whatever changes you want you can write. Instead of computer book, now I'm going to write physics book. Physics book. Then here instead of Ajay I will write Ajaya. Whatever changes you want in this only you can make Ajaya. Then year of purchasing, for example instead of 2019 I will write 2018. Then instead of computer, here I'm going to write physics book. It is, that's why here I will make it as physics. Then quantity as well as price. Here also I will make the changes. Instead of 450 I will write 550. Then quantity, how much you want, you can make the changes under the quantity. For example, instead of 6 I will write 9. Then move the cursor at the end, then press enter key. By this second record is inserted. Now to insert the third record, in the same way you have to make the changes. Instead of physics book, now I will write economics book. Economics book. Then here instead of Ajaya I will make it as Anu. Then afterwards here if you want you can change. Here instead of physics now I will make it as economics category. Then price I will write it as 600 for this one. Then quantity I will make it as around 20 copies. Then finally move the cursor at the end, then press enter key. That means now third record we are inserted. To insert the fourth record, in the same way you have to make the changes. Use arrow key in your keyboard. Now instead of economics I will write business studies book. Then here also I will make the changes as instead of economics, business study. Then quantity as well as price you have to mention. Here I will make it as 900.00. Then copies, how many copies you want, you can make the changes here. I will make it as 10 copies. Then press enter key. That means totally 4 records you are entered. Now one more record in the same way. Instead of business studies, now I will make it as maths book. Maths. Instead of Anu, I will make it another name. Anup. Then here, if you want, you can give the same thing. The category also, I will make it as maths. Then quantity as well as price. Whatever changes you want, you can make on that. For example, here I will write 30 copies. Then I will, by this, totally 5 records were entered. One is computer book, physics book, economics book, business studies book, and here one more is maths book. Totally 5 records were entered. Now, if you see the third one, that is, you have to calculate or you have to alter the table with the new column called it as amount. To do that, first you have to write it as alter. Alter the table name, you have to write alter table library. Library, then add inside the bracket amount. We want to add one more attribute called as amount. Then float data type. Inside the bracket, we will mention 7, 2. 7, 2, then close the bracket. If you observe here, totally 2 brackets we have to close the bracket and then semicolon, enter. That means query okay here. Once again, it means that we added one more attribute called as amount. Now, for the fourth one, to calculate the amount. Now, to calculate the amount, you have to type the query update. The fourth query is update. Update library. Library set. Amount equals price into quantity. Then semicolon. By that, I can able to update the library, especially under library table, amount I can able to update. If you observe the next query, that is the fifth one, that you have to list the records of all those books, price is in between 400 and 900. For that, you have to type select price from library where condition is where price between 400 and 900. Then semicolon, enter. That means here all 5 records are in between 400 and 900. That's why it is displaying here. And the next sixth query you have, that is list all those records whose year of publication is 2010 onwards. Then for that you have to type select year, comma, 2 attributes we want to select. That's why here, comma, price also we have to mention. Select year, comma, price from library table. Library where condition is where year is greater than or equals to 2010. And compulsory you have to write, and here if you observe here 2010 and you have to mention and price is less than 750. Then semicolon. Now it is displaying 3 books as well as the price dimension here. Then the last query you have list all the records. To list all the records, already you know that the command is select star from library table. Then semicolon. See, this is your final output. In the final practical exam also, you have to write the same queries, and this is the final output. In your answer script, you have to write. Is it clear for all of you? Thank you.